We continue on with our look at Australia and set you up for our New South Wales metropolitan venue. We're at Rosehill. You're betting on the meeting code of 11. Look, the track is soft there and the running rail is out 3 metres. We've got a 9-race card at Rosehill, an intriguing program. The Expressway Stakes sees Hartnell and Trapeze Artists resume. You've got Elise and Le Roman. It's a small field, but it's very much a select field. Brad Gray, form analyst for Racing New South Wales, joins us on the program. Brad, how are things shaping up for the Sydney program today?
Yeah, good morning, Jason. We actually got a bit of rain overnight. They were always forecasting it would cop a bit, but 8 mil, that's tipped it into the soft 7 range at the moment. So hopefully, it's not raining at the moment, hopefully we'll get a little upgrade or two. But as you say, this Expressway Stakes, it's a cracker. It's only a select field. We've lost Lanciato, but some of the stars that we're seeing in this particular race suggest that the Autumn Carnival is not too far away. And as if the race wasn't tricky enough to work out, this wet track just throws another little spanner into the works. So really interesting race.
It is a trick. How did you see it?
Yeah, I went with Trapeze Artist. He's the classy sprinter in the field. I know he's a horse that we know he's got an established pattern of really improving once he gets to third up in a campaign. But he did win this race last year, albeit in an easier edition. And I think if he gets outside the leader, which is the way I have mapped him, that's right, he does look like the leader in the small field. He probably comes and sits on the outside. It's just up to what Le Romain does there from Barrier 3 as to how he maps in this race. Elise, of course, was absolutely enormous there first up. Probably didn't beat the quality of horse that faces here, and there is a little query around her second up, whether she can reproduce that first up form, but she's been a month between runs and had a tick over trial. We know James Cummings uses that recipe with particular success, but I am with Trapeze Artist at the odds. I think he's about $3 at the moment, where he's getting about even money for Elise, and there's probably still a little bit of a discrepancy there, too much between them, because they're both really top quality horses, so exciting to see what they both can do.
Race number 7 is a benchmark 88, and they can often throw up a quality horse or two going through the grades. This one looks no exception, with Girl Tuesday 4 from 4 fresh up. What are you expecting to see from her following what you've seen in her work and trials?
I'm expecting her to win, Jason. It's as simple as that. I've made her the best of the day, and I think she's a mare, as you alluded to, that can work through the grades. It's an 88 here, but I can forecast her playing some kind of role deeper into the carnival and certainly in group races and maybe even Group 1 races. 4 from 4 obviously takes a little bit of ability to do that, especially when you're trained by Chris Waller, because he's a notoriously very patient trainer. He takes his time with his horses. So for her to have such a good record early in her career suggests that her upside is enormous. And the Warwick Farm trial, just ahead of this, she's had 2, but her second one was a real eye-catcher for me. She ran second, but just didn't do any work whatsoever. The jockey was just sitting very quietly on her, and she coaches her line. She looks in really good order. Kicking off over 1,500 metres certainly gives her a chance to keep that undefeated record intact. So I know you've got a bit of a wide draw to contend with, but there's a few scratchings, so she'll come in just a touch. Karen McAvoy rides, who'll just balance her up in a straight. The wet track's no issue for her, so I can see her ripping home down the outside and getting the cash there as the favourite in the race.
Very exciting proposition, Girl Tuesday, and is Brad Gray's best bet of the program there at Rosehill. Brad, confirming a couple of other runners that you think are worth betting at odds, race 5 and race 8.
Yeah, that's right. Matt Maker in race 5. Now, the wet track probably throws a little spanner in the works for this bloke, but he's such an unassuming kind of horse, and he always runs a good race. I've mapped him to lead here. Should come across, and he'll give a really big side at double figure odds. He 2 back. He ran over the sprint trip against Easy Eddie. That didn't suit. Back out to a better trip last prep, and he's just found half a run short there. So I think he's worth a ticket there at the double figure odds. And Nobu in race 8. Now, he's a stayer that you might get to see yourselves very shortly, because he's actually nominated for the New Zealand Derby. He's a Chris Waller trained 3-year-old. Finally got out to a staying trip last time, out to 1,900 metres, and he won. Although he won narrowly, it's set up to be a real sit sprint. So I think the win was a lot better than it reads on paper. So again, I'm happy to have another throw at him at double figure odds, also like Matt Mason. That's race 8, number 18, Nobu.
There's plenty of New Zealand interest in that race with Eagle Bay and, of course, the ex-Baker Forsman runner, who is also now with Chris Waller in Botty. So that's the 8th race on the program there at Rosehill, and a summary of the better bets put forward by our Racing New South Wales form analyst Brad Gray. We thank him for his time this morning on the Punters Lounge Live.